The Why I Go Live podcast is an online interview format. I use Calendly to collect guest info like correct spelling of their name and a headshot, and to have them pick their half-hour recording time slot. Once confirmed, they received a calendar appointment, which includes a RiversideFM guest link. RiversideFM records high-quality video and audio locally on your computer and then uploads it when the recording is complete. I share the date and time of the interview with my YouTube members and community group, along with the RiversideFM audience link. Prior to the recording, I prep my notes and guest introduction. I connect to RiversideFM as the host/producer and wait for the guest. The audience can see and hear us, so I usually give them some ground rules before hitting record. Once the interview is complete, I open the floor for questions, which the guest and I answer before disconnecting. My team and I will go into Riverside afterward, grab magic clips for repurposing, transcript for blog posts and quote memes, then set up the full video and audio episode with intro and outro, and also make the raw files available to the guest for download. We share the finished product on YouTube and captivatefm, our podcast distributor, and we're done. It's a fun process, and I'll share it in step-by-step format in the full video. As mentioned, I start off in Calendly. So I have this page set up, and I've used Rebrandly to give me a link that is branded to my name. So not going to share that link with you because I'm not certain I want you as a guest. Here we go. But Why I Go Live podcast, then I give the people a little bit of a blurb here, share with them what the format may be, and I share with them where they can find previous shows. So these are some of the things that are here. They can select the date and time. They select their date here. They can select the time, hit next, and then they just simply enter the different pieces that are on this side enter details form. The name, email address, their title that they want to go by, their social media handles. All of this is helping me to create some really good, robust show notes for the podcast. Then I also asked them for a professional headshot and their favorite quote. Some of the things that this is just my list of things that I asked, but you may want to ask some different things for your show. I take the headshot, drop it into Canva, and pull it into this template that I have. You can see several of the show flyers, I should say, podcast graphics here for several of the episodes that we've had and the guests that we've had on them. And so this one, episode 12, is kind of the one that we're going to be showcasing throughout the whole thing here. This is just a template in Canva, but pulling her headshot in, bringing it into this platform really helps. And then I also pull some things from the show. So here's another one for Tanya. It brings a sense of purpose and connection, live streamed every week for a year, and unintentionally launched a full public speaking career. These are just some of the quotes that we pulled from that episode, and I'll share where we get those quotes in a second. But these are some of the things that I pull from the episode. But in particular, I want to show you this graphic right here is the one I use before we even record the episode, because I take this and put it in my community group. This is my community group on Kajabi. I have a community group that called the Do-It-Yourself Video Creators, DIY Video Creators crew. I love them. It's such a fun bunch. And I'll just let them know, hey, we're going to be recording this Monday, January 29 at 3 p.m. Of course, this is after the fact, but I will let them know that I'm recording this. They can go right here to the link. Now, this is not the link, but they can go to the audience link. The audience link is only for community members and YouTube members. So here on YouTube, you're seeing the post as well. And again, they would be able to go to that link. This post is for channel members only. So channel members only. And so now once that's done and those are posted, everybody knows the date and time, host, guest, and audience for the recording. And we can go into to Riverside right here. So this is the page that you come to for your studios in Riverside. Let me know in the comment section if you're interested in a full Riverside tutorial, you know, kind of the whole setup of the studio and everything like that. But once your studio is set up, you can get your audience link, you can get your guest link, but everyone will be your guest and your host. If you're a producer, which there are some shows where I serve as producer and I'm not on camera, you can see here it even has the ability to allow you to join as producer. You when you join as producer, it knows to exclude your camera, even though your audio can be heard by the host and the guest. Really cool stuff. This is very much designed specifically for podcasting, and especially for video podcasters as well. So you input your name, you let Riverside know if you're wearing headphones. You can say I am not, or I am using headphones. And once you do that, you can say join studio. And once we're in the studio, this is what it looks like in the studio. I usually come over here, edit the recording, say test WWIGL podcast, right? So boom, we say that, we say save. And so now that's what this session will be called under the Why I Go Live podcast. And what I love about Riverside also is that the studio link does not change. You can create multiple studios for all your different shows. Your assets stay in that studio. It is really clutch how they have that set up. I have a incognito window set up for my guest. And as you can see here, I've named myself Why I Go Live Guest, WIGL Guest. I've selected a different camera and a different audio input output so that I don't get that interference. But of course, the guest would select what's correct for them. They could decide whether they're using headphones or not using headphones. This is really good distinction because the platform will turn on or off echo cancellation depending on what the guest indicates. And I love this question. So the person has to say, I am using headphones. And once they say that, the settings are changed slightly, and then they can enter the studio. And once they click that, you can see here it says waiting for host to accept. So let's go back onto the other screen. And now you can see here, hey, WIGL guest is in the lobby. Let them in. We say yes. We hit that checkbox. And once we hit that checkbox, we'll see the guest come into the studio as they did just now. And so now they're in the studio. You have both your guests. One of the things that may not be obvious is that even though it looks this way, it is not recording this way. And a quick example is if you bring the window down, you will see that the videos will adjust and you'll see more of the videos for your recording, but you get the full 16:9 video for both you and your guest for the session. Another thing that I want to show is on the other incognito window, I do have the audience link. We're gonna have to blur out these links because I can't have those links public. I don't want people just joining as they please, but here is the audience link, and you can literally just type your name to enter the chat. So here we just type Tom Buck. Tom Buck's a good friend. So hit to enter, and it says whisper backstage, nothing said just yet. Messages are cleared after each session. So I can come in here and say, hey guys, looking forward to this, and say send. Now notice they're not seeing anything yet because the studio myself and as a host haven't clicked record yet. So this person has put a chat in. Let's go back over to the main studio. You can see here at the bottom that the chat icon is here. When we go there, you can see that what WIGL guest has said, that it has said something here. Hey guys, looking for this. So you go to everyone and you can see everybody there. Now you do have a chat with you and the guest, and you also have a chat with the entire group, whoever is watching. Once I click record, you do get this little countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're off and running. So once that recording starts, you'll also see something here in the top that says uploading. All right, and it'll upload as the video goes on, and you can see here that it says actual recording quality is higher than the quality that you're currently seeing, and I have proven that to be true. So now that we are started recording, I'm going to go back to the guest screen, to the audience screen, and you can now see that the guest can see the two of us, and we could record this way, we would chat this way. So I'm going to hit the stop button, and One of the other things I love about Riverside is that even though I have stopped, and you can see these recordings are finishing their upload, now they're done uploading. And so after that point, the guest can leave the studio. You can actually go through and record again. Let's say you wanted to record something else, or you want to now go into Q&A with the audience. You hit the record button because that actually enables them to be able to see you. As long as I'm not in the recording part, it's not actually going to show them us. So hit the record again. You can do your Q&A session, and I have pulled an entire additional podcast out of the extra recordings. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And then of course you just hit your hang up button. And if you are the host, you can say end session for all, and that closes out for everyone. It ends it for your guest. It ends it for the audience. It ends it for everyone. And then it'll bring you back to this screen where you have all of your recordings for this particular studio, which is really cool. I'm going to go into the recording that we did with myself and Tanya Smith, and you can see here up at the top, we can watch the whole video. You can actually view the full transcript here as well. And you have the video on the side, and you can actually click through the different pieces here. If I click on this part, it'll go to that particular part of the video. I can actually change the layout. You can set it as a grid. You can set it as full screen. You can do picture in picture. You can even do split screen. You can kind of customize it here if you wanted to just edit right here. You can also add your intro and outro audio right here inside the studio in Riverside FM. Really cool stuff. And then you can export that as a particular clip. If you want, you can actually just have the platform itself go through and give you some magic clips. So these are some magic clips similar to Opus clips, if you're familiar with that, where AI goes through, looks at the text in the video, looks at the clips of it and analyzes it to see what would be a good part to pull out. And then you can go through and pull those clips. You can edit them slightly. Maybe you want to combine two, and then download those and share them on social media to leave breadcrumbs to lead back to your full podcast episode. So those are really cool. Those magic clips are cool. And then at the end here, we have the full video with all the ahs and ums taken out. That is also something that Riverside does as an AI feature. But above and beyond all of that, you also have the ability to just download high quality. If I click on this, you can see you can export to 4K, export audio only. You can do a custom export. I mean, you have full options to do anything you want here. Raw audio and video. You have full options to do whatever you want. You can actually download the transcript as well. And I like to right here click this to share, to give access to my guests, because they may want to have, maybe they said something that was really awesome that they want to be able to repurpose. I like to share that with my guests, so I pull that from there and send it to them. Lastly, there are these images, these social snapshots, if you will, and I can literally just download them if I wanted to, right? These are different things that are really cool. This kind of shows a little snapshot, and you create some buzz, and you can literally send those off to social media, and again, set yourself up for success in terms of advertising your podcast. The next thing I do, of course, outside of editing the video and uploading to YouTube, I then take the audio of the podcast, upload it to CaptivateFM. This is my CaptivateFM dashboard, and you can see the podcast artwork is here and it's ready to go. And this episode is actually scheduled and ready for release the day after I am recording this video. So that's pretty cool. And you can see some of the previous episodes that are here. They've already been produced and released. And actually, if you can actually share the videos directly from Captivate as well. And so you can kind of hear what that's the beginning of the podcast.
4 minutes of
streaming thing, but here's a podcast that seems to be aimed at
there you go.
Answering.
So that is an example of one of the of that full podcast process. Of course, the podcast will also live on YouTube as well, and YouTube has a whole podcast feature now, so you can designate your playlist as podcast, and it kind of treats them a little bit differently, which is great. And so this one is scheduled and ready to go for release on YouTube as well. And then, of course, for me, my primary distribution point is the howitallworks.com website. And you can see that this video is here. And if you click play right here, it will play even right here. There it is. You can see what that video portion looks like. Yeah, there we go. See what that video portion looks like. But then if you want to watch on YouTube, you can go right here, click watch on YouTube. That's going to take you back to the playlist. And you can also go to listen on Spotify as well. When you click there, it'll take you to Spotify. Of course, this podcast episode hasn't released yet, but all the previous ones are there for you to be able to do. So, and essentially, fam, that is my entire podcast process. That's the entire podcast process in a nutshell. Did you know that video podcasts are a natural evolution of podcasts? And they can be done in 3 ways. You have a solo, where the podcaster has no guest, in-person interview, where the podcast host is joined by a guest on site for the recording, or online interview, where the host and guest connect to a recording platform, which in my case is Riverside FM. Would you believe I personally have podcasts of all 3 types? This video showcased the why I go live, but in our next video, we'll showcase my solo podcast process, and that podcast is called Morning Motivation and Media. Subscribe to be notified when it's available, and check out these videos for more best practices on content creation. Later, fam.